Yes.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Exes Podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
And we are the Exes, and we're here to, just to talk about all kinds of things. We used to talk about relationships and how you can end a relationship and still be friends, and how it's important to stay connected to people that are important in your life. But we got bored with that, so we started talking about murder, crime, and mayhem.
We got bored with that.
Which was always your favorite thing. And, especially towards, I don't know if this is healthy, especially towards the end of our relationship, it seemed like it was even more taking over. In fact, you get home and she's watching, what's that show, Snapped? and she's taking notes. So, what attracts you to all of this? I mean, I know it started with like the OJ trial, kind of like a lot of people probably, and that's probably where court TV really took off and all these different shows. And that's when 2020 decided to go, or Dateline decided to go all in on the murder thing. It used to cover a lot of things, and now it's just murder.
Yeah.
What is it that attracts you to that?
Well, when I hear the story, then I like the way that I can follow the investigation, right? I can follow how they come to this suspect, how they rule other people out, the DNA evidence, how they figure out like the timelines and where people were at. I don't know. I just find it very interesting. And then if I have a strong reaction to the crime, then I really want to stick it out until the end, because if I think someone's guilty, then I want to know that they were found guilty.
Yeah. Yeah, and I find the trials, I didn't think they would be interesting, but I find myself like really drawn into them. Even some of the stuff that maybe I used to think was mundane or boring, it's like, oh God, don't talk about this any longer. And now it's like I start to see how important it is. Every little piece of evidence, everything they got to tie together. But it's not just as cut and dry as I used to think it was. And so the more you get involved, the more you find out about this stuff. And you also come across some pretty dumb criminals during this period.
Yes, you do.
I mean, sometimes you just slap your head and just how did they think they were going to get away with this? I mean, how did they possibly think? And we were just talking about the Daybell, the Vallow Daybell murders. With pretty much everybody in the family except for Chad and Lori are dead. So pretty much everybody.
Pretty much.
But there's some delusion that goes along with some of these crimes about how they. Does it even make sense to you how they can rationalize and be okay? It's got to be it's got to be insanity, is the truth, right?
It's got to be something. I mean, there's some serious departmental. Is that how you say it?
What?
Like, how you put things aside.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah. It's got to be some seriousness with that, because I don't know how and I've said this often, I don't know how they lay their head down and go to sleep at night. And that goes for some of the people that were also involved that didn't, wave a red flag or. I don't know how some of those people involved in that big case can lay their head down at night and be okay.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, watching you as a mother, especially as a mother, I mean, fathers, we tend to distance ourselves. even if we like you, we distance from you. But mothers, I mean, I'd watch you when one of your kids was even a little bit sick or something was just a little bit wrong. You become hypersensitive to everything, and you would just be like, I got to check out, I got to know. So, I mean, a sane person. I don't know if there's any way we can even think about how you could be that cold and callous and close yourself off from all of that.
Yeah, I can't understand that.
So, and that's why I always get like a kick out of they're going for the insanity defense. isn't the act of killing your own kids insane to begin with? So, I mean, it is insanity. It is insanity. And to say, well, they were insane, they couldn't do what they were doing, or they didn't have control, or they didn't know what they were doing. I don't care about that. I mean, it's all insane. Killing somebody is insane. Oh, look who's here. We got Sandy Mom with us. Hi, kids.
Hi.
And she says, sometimes I think they are just evil. I know it's easy to fall into that, isn't it?
I have to say that Letitia Stout, I think she is just an evil person. I really do. Honestly, to her core, I think she's an evil person. I don't think she's crazy.
Listen, every picture I've seen of this woman, I'm just thinking she's as crazy as a bag of cats. I mean, she's got psycho written all over her face.
No, I don't think she's crazy. I don't think she's crazy. I do think she's evil, though, because even her daughter had, said there were certain things about, she was afraid to say anything to her because she would hit her when she was little, and she just knew. She knew she wasn't supposed to question her mother. So, I mean, that's not like a loving growing up experience, right?
Yeah, right. But so let's presume that somebody is evil. Mm-hmm. Isn't that itself a form of insanity, though? Because evil means you want to destroy and hurt things. That's evil, or whatever it might be. But you have to somehow put your humanity aside to be able to do those things. And pretty much what we're talking about when we're talking about people who are crazy in these situations where you hurt people, they don't have the feelings that other people would have.
Yeah, that's true. But in the court, insanity has a whole different. In the court, insanity has a whole different definition. Right. It's you have to prove that they didn't know what they were doing at the time and didn't understand the consequences of it.
That's true. That is true.
Which, once you're covering up for 2 months following the crime and moving a body from place to place to place to hide it, you know what you did was wrong. Even if you maybe were what people can say insane at the time, after the fact, you know it was wrong to do. So you have two choices, right? You're either going to try to cover it up and get away with it, or you're going to call the police and let them come and find out that you did this.
Absolutely. That's true. Hi, guys. Gene's with us. Yeah, if you're truly insane, you wouldn't cover up a crime. See, that's the thing. The minute you start to cover it up, it shows that you have control of your thoughts. You have rational thinking. Yes. You don't wipe the prints off of gun if you're insane. You don't hide the body or throw the gun or bury the knife in the ground unless you know what you're doing. You're hiding something.
Or wash your clothes.
That's why.
And wash your sneakers.
That's why, and it brings us back to the Vallow Daybell case where they're saying it was like, I relieved them because they weren't themselves anymore. They were taken over as zombies and they were possessed. Even gave her ex-husband a name that he was possessed by. But you don't really believe that, because if you did, you would be able to say it out loud. Yeah. Everybody's talking to her and saying, why did you do it? And she goes, you don't know what happened. Well, tell me what happened. Well, I'm not going to tell you what happened. The reason she's not telling you, because she knows she was wrong. Yeah. So every argument you have about the kids being zombies now goes out the window.
Yeah.
If you truly believed it, if somebody broke into the house and came at me with an axe, and if I happen to have a gun and I shot that person, I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to call the police, say this guy came at me with an axe. I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. Mm-hmm. And I've got no problem with that. Of course, I don't own a gun, so now I'm scared.
No, I'm scared. I think one thing that really has stuck with me since I heard it was the judge at Joe's sentencing, the kid that got sentenced for the hit and run.
Oh, okay.
He said to him, right before he sentenced him, he said, the act was not the accident. The accident was an accident. The crime started the moment you left the scene.
Right.
So the moment he knew he had done this and he took off, that's when the crime started. Because if he had pulled over and called 911, it would have been a terrible accident, yes, would have been a tragic car and motorcycle accident, but it would have been an accident.
Yes, right.
Somebody would have been at fault. Yes, blah, blah, blah. But the judge told him the crime actually started when you chose to drive away.
Right. I agree with you 1,000%. But in doing that, you're assuming if you really believed you didn't do anything wrong, you wouldn't do that. Right. So in doing that, it's kind of like an admission that I was at fault.
Yeah.
Or they believed they were at fault somehow. We got some comments here. Let's see. Mom is saying there are children who are sociopaths. They can be treated with medication, but there is no cure. They have no empathy. Can you call that evil? I'm not sure. That's true. I mean, there are people with mental health disorders who show no empathy and hurt things not out of malice, but out of not understanding. Mm-hmm. So is that evil? You know?
Well, I think if they were not willing to get help and try.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're just, So if you're just going to refuse any help or any type of treatment, then yes, I would say that they're living in their evilness.
Absolutely.
Evilness.
Lynn's with us. Hi, Lynn.
Hi,
thanks for joining us.
What?
What was
that, Lynn?
Did I slur that? I don't drink. Lynn is with us. Yes, there we go. And I was looking at that while I was reading everything else. Okay, so the action is evil. So you cannot. Maybe you're not an evil person, but you do an evil act. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Speaking of evil, let's go back again one more time to the Vallow Daybell. I want to just get this out there. They have given Chad Daybell. Charles Vallow was killed. It's hard to keep track. Mm-hmm. Tammy, Lori was part of the conspiracy to kill Tammy, and I always want to call Lori Tammy. So I guess they adopt the names when they kill people. Yeah. Chad Daybell will be charged with the murders of the two children and his wife. And his court date has been set. Lori's court finished a month ago, maybe 6 weeks or about a month ago. She was found guilty on all charges. She's going to be sentenced, I think, in another month. It's about a month away before she gets sentenced. They said in July, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think there is a date in July.
But she's looking at life.
Well, she has a court date coming up, June 15th.
For
her lawyers are trying to get a new trial.
Oh, yeah, because she wasn't treated fairly. So anyway, Chad now is going to be, his trial starts in February of 2024. Mm-hmm. Now, he's been in custody for at least a full year now.
I think it's almost 2.
Almost 2 years.
I think so.
He's been in custody. The murders happened 3 years ago.
Yes.
And now he's waiting another year. Yeah. I understand not trying them at the same time. Although that would have been pretty cool, have them in separate.
I don't understand. I mean, I understand how his lawyers finagled that, but I don't. But I think they should have been tried at the same time.
Probably because he goes in with this advantage of knowing what evidence, at least some of the evidence they're going to use, because they had to use it in the trial with Lori.
Yes.
And so anyway, now we're looking at February. So this will now be 4.5 years after the murders. 4.5 years. When they were known almost as soon as they knew the kids were dead, they knew who did it. And there was this was never a kind of thing like, let's go on a manhunt for some killer. They knew what happened. It was just, they left a trail of breadcrumbs that Ray Charles could have followed. I mean, it's just so easy to figure it out. Well, I understand the evidence was complicated, and I know, but it's ridiculous.
Well, I think once the kids were found, but there was a lot that was not picked up on leading up to that, which is sad because maybe we didn't have to get to that point. If someone had listened to Charles, if someone had investigated the shooting of Brandon, although was Brandon before or after the kids? I think Brandon was after the kids were already gone.
Who?
Brandon, Melanie's ex-husband, the one
the gunshot? The gunshot?
Mhm.
That happened after the kids, but before her brother died.
And before the kids were found.
Before the kids were found, yes, absolutely.
But as we know now, they were already dead, so that wouldn't have helped them. But, Charles was almost like screaming from the rooftops that he was in danger, the kids were in danger, and sadly, nobody listened.
Jean is sharing, she goes, you ever watch the first 48? Some of the sentences are so mild for murder, she was shocked. She's seen lesser charges get more time than some murders.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by that too. And the disparity. How do they base that? I mean, what are they basing that on? One person you kill and that's life or death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Another person you kill and it's people can get 15 years.
I guess it depends on the intent, right?
Does it matter about who you kill too?
Probably, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, probably. Well, let's face it. Women do, in general, historically get lesser sentences.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's because women are in general more petite, more.
Because most judges it's because most judges are male and we're afraid to piss you guys off. That's why. No, that's not. Here's what I don't understand. I can shoot a 15-year-old kid downtown in Miami. I don't prescribe murder. I'm not. But I could kill a 15-year-old kid in Miami, and I could get a sentence of maybe 10 to 15 years or maybe 15 to 20 or something like that. But I could be in the same street, and if a congressman was walking down the street and I killed him, I could be looking at life. They put a value on the lives that are taken, and I don't think that's right.
I don't think that's right either, because a life is a life.
Correct.
And I think the only thing they should look at is the legal definition of that murder, right?
Right.
So, because there are some that are, self-defense, where you endanger for your own well-being or life.
Self-defense is fine.
Premeditated.
Well, everybody loves a good planner. I think it's important to, it's great. It's great for vacations, not so much for murder. So
crime of passion.
All right. So that would be
spur the moment.
Spur of the moment. You did not bring a gun with you to,
right.
Okay.
You found the knife in the kitchen and something happened.
Decided to make sushi.
Yeah. And then there are some that are, like maybe an assault that ends up turning into somebody died because of the assault, right? Maybe there was that guy that got punched in the bar and he just happened to have something in his brain that ended up killing him.
That's where it could be some sort of wrongful death, and it leans more towards reckless endangerment causing death or something like that.
Yeah.
So where it's no longer a murder, but it is still, you're still partially responsible for somebody's death.
Yeah, and usually when something like that happens, a lot of times the DAs wait to see if the person's going to recover or not, because as soon as they do pass away or life support's turned off, then they do charge the murder, right?
Absolutely. Let me see. Sentencing depends on your and the victim's socioeconomic status. I agree with that.
I agree with that too, and it's not right.
I agree with that, and I think they spend more time thinking about if you got a rich guy who killed his family. I mean, we've seen this, and they get treated a lot differently than somebody who's robbing a liquor store and shoots somebody. If they, somebody who's homeless or something. Let's see. I know where to find a wedding planner for. What are you talking about? Wedding planner.
Wedding planner. Okay, well, we're way off base.
So this is just interesting. So we're going to wait a while, but we will be back. There will be more Vallow Daybell trial to come. We're going to be doing that. Also, just to keep you up to date, we did a big story on the Murdaugh trials, and Alec Murdaugh went to trial and was sentenced for his wife and his son's murder. And now he is opening up and starting to answer for all of the financial crimes he committed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is to the tune of anywhere between $8 and $20 million. I've heard a lot of different numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I've heard a lot of different numbers. I think the $8 million I'm thinking of was one theft. And there were many thefts on top of that. So he's been stealing money from his law firm, from the clients, and from the government, and also committing fraud against insurance companies. So he's got this whole thing going.
Isn't there something like 20 indictments or something?
It's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
I thought it was a high 20s, like 28 indictments at this point.
Could be. It could be.
But, so now here's a guy in prison for murder, and now they're going to try him for all this financial stuff. Nobody's going to get any restitution for this. The only thing
some people already have.
Well, I mean, I guess if there's a way to get restitution, does he have money somewhere?
I guess property. I guess he did actually have some money somewhere in some overseas bank. And then one of the lawyer partner people went to the law firm and said, we have to make some of this right. So whatever cases we were involved in, we have to try and make those right. And so like those boys, the housekeeper's sons, they did get some money for that.
And Sandy, mom was just saying that Alec lied about the housekeeper's deaths.
Yeah. He was found guilty in the, what do you call the other court?
Civil court.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
He was found guilty in civil court for committing, for fraud and for fraud, defrauding the family and the insurance company.
Yes.
But he also lied about how she died. And he had a whole story about the dog tripped her. And now he's saying there was no dog.
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't think the dog tripped her.
Yeah. So it's become a whole big mess. I'm sure there's going to be more to that as we go. But at this point, and we were talking before we came on air, apparently, if they charge him with the financial crime, he'll go to federal prison. He'll go from a state prison to a federal prison, which is nicer. It's much nicer. The thread count is through the roof on the sheets. It's really nice. They have squash tournaments and in pickleball. They brought pickleball into the federal prisons, and they're very nice.
They probably did.
And he is in a state prison right now. And they're saying, well, he'll leave the state prison and go to a nicer prison, and then he'll go back to the state prison. So
for the remainder,
to serve the time for the financial crime over the crime of taking the life of his wife and son. That's a little backwards, if you ask me. Keep him in the nasty place, because chances are he's never getting out. He's not going to survive it to get out. No. I'm actually surprised he survived this long. The guy does not look like prison material to me, if you know what I mean.
I think it's been in solitary. I think he's been protected.
I think so. I think he should be, because he looks like the guy who's going to be crying in the corner of the lunchroom a whole lot.
Well, there's also probably quite a few people in that prison that he had hand in seeing go there.
What's that?
There's probably quite a few people in that prison that he had a hand in sending there.
Oh, yeah, because he was a lawyer.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so his lawyers are trying very hard to get him.
I think it's a good idea
to get him sentenced for the federal crime, so he can get out of there for a while.
Jane says, "Put him in a Miami jail." Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll
do it. All right, so we're catching up on all those. We're going to talk about a few other things. We're going to talk about some urban legends in just a moment. One last thing I want to catch up on that is a crime. First of all, Gene was asking, are we watching the trial of the football player guy?
I wasn't watching it, but I did hear the verdict today.
Yeah, so that one's already completed. It was an ex-NFL player, I think, who killed somebody.
New York Giants player.
Yeah, and you know what? We see that often. Well, not like a lot, but we've seen it a lot of times. These sports figures who become violent and commit crimes. And I'm going to ask that part of that is because of the violence of the sports they play, and also part of that could be roid rage and other things going on. I mean, there are certain things that go on.
Yeah. Plus they're put on a pedestal, right? Especially if you make it to the NFL. Oh, you are like a god. I mean, you can walk in anywhere.
You start to believe that
with anything. Yeah. People are covering up for you.
Absolutely.
It was guilty.
It was guilty, Gene.
That's all I know. I don't know, I didn't really read into it that much more.
We didn't get into the details of that. I was going to go after the crime about the woman who killed her husband, then wrote a children's book about grieving about their father. But that one looks like it's going to be so cut and dry. It's going to be very quick.
Yeah, they've got quite a bit of evidence.
The one that has come back around, that has just suddenly been back in the news again, the one I didn't expect to come back around, was the College Town murders. The 4 kids who were murdered. In
You didn't expect it to come back around?
Well, I didn't expect it to come back around the way it did, because now there is a spotlight being shown on why did he not kill the other girls in the house. There were 2 other girls in the house, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was only one. There were 2.
There were 2. Yeah.
And he didn't bother with them. And he apparently was aware that they were there.
Who said he was apparently aware that they were there?
Well, didn't she see him coming down the hallway, and he saw her, and she ran?
She saw him, but they're saying that because of the darkness and because of what he had just done, there's some kind of kind of tunnel vision trance type thing. So they're not sure if he saw her or not.
Yeah. Yes, Gene, is the ones who got stabbed. Four students, 3 females and 1 male, stabbed upstairs at a house that was for rent for college students. Downstairs, there were 2 girls downstairs, and he walked past their rooms and past them. It was close. I mean, it was not like they were on the whole other side of the house. He went near them. Mm-hmm. But they're saying it's awfully suspicious, and I don't know, and I'm not saying anything. Don't everybody get upset because they're innocent, and maybe they are. But somebody pointed to that and said, that is very peculiar. Why were they not harmed? Did they have something more to do with it than what they're saying? I don't buy it, but that's what's coming around now.
Well, they have to bring up something, right? That is the defense team's job. They have to bring up some reasonable doubt. And so, yes, it sounds odd, but I don't think the 2 college girls would be in cahoots or know anything that they're friends. I mean, they lived together. They were close. They were friends. I mean, I watched Tara and her roommates, and they would not let anything bad happen to each other.
Well, yeah, but how many times do we see friends kill friends? We see it often.
Well, yeah, but
more often than you want to admit.
Well, this poor girl, I think the one that saw him is she is traumatized for life, I think.
Yeah.
She does have the guilt, and she has, because she froze, and I can understand that. You do kind of freeze in fear. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she saw somebody in the house, and you live with 4 other people. There may have been nights where there were people they maybe didn't know doing the walk of shame, let's say, right?
Yeah. I'm making a note for myself that we need to look up the date for that College Town murder. Look up a date when the trial's going to start, so that we can follow that along a little bit.
I don't. They have a preliminary date.
Oh, they do. Okay. Yeah. They are looking into unsolved deaths near his home in Pennsylvania as well.
They are, but I don't know if they connected him with any of those yet.
I think it was just kind of that thing where, if he killed there, then maybe he killed someplace else, and they're checking. That's all.
Well, they're under the assumption that because he pulled off killing 4 people by stabbing, that this may not have been the first time that he's done it. So they have to kind of cross their T's and dot their I's and make sure.
Well, we were going to talk. So we'll keep you up to date on those. Those are our crimes of the year, I guess, if you will. And we're keeping an eye out. If there's something you'd like us to look into, we're happy to do it. We've got nothing better to do with our lives than to look shit up and see who killed who. And I actually, I get a phone book, and I wait for somebody to die, and I cross their names out of the phone book. That's what I do. It's my hobby. Don't judge. We were going to talk about urban legends for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And some urban legends are actually based on true crimes that somehow were morphed into it.
Oh, did you find that?
I did find some.
So did I.
But more often than not, I found where the urban legend came first, then the crime that kind of mimicked it came afterwards. So hit me with one. Hit me with one that you got.
Hit me with what? A true one?
Yeah, why not?
One that turned out to be fairly true?
Fairly true.
fairly true. Okay.
I think that's fairly true. We keep
The gators in the sewers in New York City.
no, Gene, they do not have phone books anymore. I was just making a joke. She said they still have those. No, that's what old people talk about. Okay, go ahead. What are you going to say? The alligators?
Alligators in the sewers of New York City.
Okay, I looked that one up as well. You know what? You cannot have urban legends. Now, what did you find out about it?
I found out that the storms and flooding in Florida, as you know, places that have those kind of weather, hurricanes, they can force full-size gators into the sewer systems, but a full-size gator would not survive in New York City. But the police did pull a little baby 2-foot alligator out of a sewer in New York City once.
Yeah, once.
Once, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the legend says they actually have like a whole community of gators under there.
Yeah,
and the most dangerous things they found under there, because a little baby alligator like that is about as bothersome as a salamander, right?
Right.
But they did find what was found in the New York City sewer system were 3 huge snapping turtles, which could be very dangerous. A snapping turtle will take part of your hand off. I mean, a large one. They're very, and in Florida, I mean, now like you said, there have been times when a gator might get stuck in a storm drain somehow because of if it's in their native territory. You're not going to find one in Arizona stuck in a storm drain. But in Florida, this was a cool one. A whole herd of manatees somehow got confused during flooding and ended up stuck in the sewer systems. And it was a whole herd of manatees. They had to get out of there.
Oh, and poor manatees. They're big, too.
They're big. They're ugly. They're dumb. I don't know if they're dumb, but they're big and they're ugly.
They're kind of cute.
Yeah. Gene says giant rats eat the gators. No, there's no... I mean, there are certainly rats in the sewer systems, but yeah, that whole gator story...
Yeah,
it's just a tall tale.
They wouldn't survive in New York City.
All right, let me hit you with one that I found. Organ thieves.
Oh.
People, if you go somewhere, if you go out of town, you could get roofied and drugged and then wake up with your guts in a bath of ice water, with your guts cut open and your organs missing. And there's a note that says, if you want to live, call the hospital.
Well, I'm going to say if your organs are missing, you're probably not waking up.
Well,
I'm just saying.
The legend is that they cut the liver out or whatever they got to steal, or the spleen, because spleens are worth a lot, right? I don't know. But they cut out the organ or the heart. They cut it out, and then they put you in an ice bath. And you're okay as long as you're in an ice bath. Yeah. Probably not from the heart one, but from the other ones you could be. But here's the thing. The National Kidney Foundation did a whole research thing on this. They found it to be absolutely false. However, in 2008, it did happen to 3 men in India.
Oh, yeah.
So after the urban legend, somebody did the urban legend. So it did happen to 3 men in India who were drugged, and they didn't survive. And their organs were stolen and harvested. So,
but there is a black market for organs.
There is a black market for organs.
People do agree to sell a kidney for thousands of dollars to some rich person. That is illegal.
But they're not stealing them from live people.
No.
Gene says
there's some movies about that though.
She knows a few people who have had their brains removed. I've met some of them too. In fact, 4 of them just on the drive home today. They were driving and there could not be a brain there. Donna Fahey's with us. Donna, thanks for joining us. The manatees are gentle giants. They are. I know. I just said they look. They're not the most attractive creature on the planet. I'm being nice, but they are gentle and they're surprisingly graceful. It's like an elephant in a tutu. They are so graceful when they go.
An elephant in a tutu.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, so
what do you got?
One more. I don't know how you say it because I can't read my writing very well here. but the Cropery of Staten Island. Cropery of Staten Island.
Oh no,
it's
the Capri.
Capri, is that
Yeah.
what it is? It was a state school for children, right?
Yeah.
And they said that there was a mysterious creeper hunting the children there, blah, blah, blah. Well, it did turn out that the janitor of that institution was like a predator of children, but not when it was like, not when he was working there. It was closed, but he was using the building.
Yeah. What they created was a legend of the Capri, which was supposed to be a boogeyman in the woods on Staten Island. They would come and steal children and hurt them and take them and do all this stuff. But it was based around this school. It turns out they didn't need that horror story to make that school, because the school was full of abuse and a lot of bad things. It got shut down in the 80s. 1989, I think it was. They shut it down for all of the abuse and bad things that were happening to the children there. But I think the manifestation of all that pain that was in that school, they created this coppery boogeyman from the woods to kind of like take them on.
But apparently they really did have a boogeyman, Andre Rand, who was found guilty in 1988 for although they said that they never had any. Wait, I wrote this. They found him to be responsible for the disappearance of several children, but they never had like a guilty, like they never had any concrete evidence.
No, he was.
But he was found guilty.
He was found guilty definitely in the abuse of the one girl, and then the missing kids. I don't know if they found him guilty of that, or if he was just the suspect that they could not, because they never found the kids. He
was found guilty again in 2004 of what crime? I don't know. I didn't really.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Here's one. A guy who wants to fly ties a bunch of helium balloons to his lawn chair and ends up flying up into the stratosphere. You heard that?
Yeah. There's a whole movie about that.
Yeah. Up.
Yeah.
Okay. True story. It is a true story.
It is?
Yes.
How many balloons did it take?
Oh, Donna's agreeing with you. The black market, without a doubt. There is a black market out there. And some school in Miami, I saw, they claim they had demons in there. Probably.
They might have bad people in there.
We'll have to do hauntings, famous hauntings sometime.
Oh, that would be fun.
But okay, so 45 balloons tied to 45 helium balloons. He didn't blow them up and floated. It was helium balloons, 45 of them tied to a Sears lawn chair. Sears and Roebuck? It's got to be Sears. You know, you got to have a good chair.
Yeah, so, a very thin aluminum, probably.
He goes, yeah. I'm hoping it was a recliner, because he went on quite a long flight. He went up to 16,000 feet, was spotted by airline pilots as they were flying their patterns.
Oh, geez.
He disrupted the airline patterns. So you're flying a Boeing 727 and you got 180 people on board, and you look over and there's some guy in a freaking lawn chair, probably with a beer and a cozy, and they have balloons, just sitting there saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
So what they do is shoot his balloons with a BB gun?
Well, what he did was he had to finally start descending, and so you'd pop one balloon at a time to descend, and he descended himself right down into high power lines.
Wait, say that, into high-powered lines.
What's that? Did I? Yeah, I froze up for a second. He descended right into the high power lines, the high voltage lines.
Oh, Lord.
And
oh, God.
Now, he got hung up in them, but he didn't die. He got arrested. Here's the thing. They arrested him, but could not figure out what to charge him with. There is nothing about flying a lawn chair anywhere in our legal system. Anywhere. He disrupting airspace always involves a vehicle. He was not in a vehicle.
But that doesn't always involve a vehicle anymore, because
that's true, because we got the
lasers
and
those laser things that kids get in trouble for, and drones.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they were going to charge him in flying without a pilot's license, but there is no license for flying a lawn chair, so they could not charge him with that. This is true. They went through all these like hoops and stuff. He did get charged with a bunch of shit, but that is absolutely a true story. Now, we say this, and we're saying don't try this at home.
I might want to try that at home.
If you're sitting there thinking that might be a good idea, take the trip. You might just raise our gene pool a little bit if we lose you, because it's just not a good idea.
When was that? What year was that?
Jesus. That was.
I don't think it was the year of Jesus. No.
It was 1989 or 1990 something.
Oh.
1997. Right. I think it was 97.
Oh, okay.
So I did not jot that piece of information down. But yeah, I mean, there's so many things. You got the old urban myth of the woman gets in her car, she's driving down the road, people are flashing lights saying there's somebody in the back seat.
Mm-hmm. And she runs from everybody.
Yeah, and there's
afraid of everybody, but and then she stops at a gas station, and the gas station attendant tries to help her, but she gets afraid of him and runs right into the guy in the back seat, gets killed.
You got the whole story.
Yeah.
And none of it was true. Not based on any real incident. However, after this became legend, there's been 2 incidences where one person, a guy did hide in the back of a minivan that a woman was driving, and he kidnapped her. And then there was another one where somebody hid in the back seat of a sedan, popped up to rob the woman. She hit the gas, and they ran in, and they hit a tree, and they both got hurt. So she crashed the car.
Well, I will tell you, that legend was so ingrained in my head that when I got my license in my own car, right now, my car was like a 1987 Volare. So they were manual locks, right? Manual windows, manual locks.
Volare.
Every time I got in my car, I'm locking, making sure all of my doors are locked. When I would go to stop at the grocery store or the mall after work, I'd get in, I'd look in the back seat, I'd make sure the dome light was on.
Didn't you look in the back seat before you even got in, though? Did you look through the back window first?
No.
That makes no sense.
I know.
That makes no sense.
I know.
I'm going to put myself in the kill zone, then look around.
I know. But at least I looked around.
I got to admit, I don't know what movie I saw, but for about 6 months, I was doing the same thing.
Yeah, because the movies use that.
And you know what the worst thing was? You started driving and you realized I never looked. And now you're moving in the car and you're like, you don't even want to look in the rearview mirror because you're like, oh my God, Pennywise, the clown's going to be in the back seat. I am so freaking, I know those things terrify me, but it was not based on anything, but it does play on our worst fears. And that's why it becomes such a legend.
Yeah.
Because our worst fears is the boogeyman under our bed. Somebody reaching up, jumping out from behind the seat, doing those things. And that's why people, and I think somehow that's why we're attracted to some crime and stuff like that, because of the gut-wrenching piece of it, that it piques our, I'm not saying it lights up the dark side of us, but it really kind of exploring evil things. It's like walking through a scary woods. I mean, you just you want to kind of see what's around the corner. Even though you're disgusted by it, you still want to see it.
Yeah.
So it's a very strange thing.
We were having a little conversation at work today because, I don't know, Halloween came up or whatever, and there was 4 of us there talking. 2 of us are like, oh, I love Halloween. And the other 2 are like, oh, I hate Halloween. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Haunted houses? And they were telling stories about how they were traumatized going through these haunted houses. And then the other 2 of us were laughing and saying, oh my God, I've been to this one, and it's so much fun. And I don't know. It's people are different. People are different.
Yeah, I know. Halloween was always our favorite holiday here. Mm-hmm. And I still love it. I still going outside with the music and doing all that. But yeah, it was for some people. You know what? If you don't want to go, if you don't like haunted houses, here's an idea. Don't go to one.
Well, yeah, but then you run into the fact that, their husband likes to go. So do they always deny him of going? Or do they suck it up once in a while?
Well, if they're afraid, obviously they're afraid because they think they might get murdered in a haunted house. So if their husband really wants to go, send him alone and work on your wills and your insurance papers. Donna says, I'm phobic of getting in an elevator and the doors open and one man's in there and I don't get in. LOL.
Yeah.
That
is a fear.
That is a fear. There's it's a scary thing. I mean, I imagine more for a woman, obviously, but it's like a parking garage. When you're the only one walking in a parking garage,
Yeah.
that can be creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Because how many movies make murders in parking garages? It's
Of
like
course.
all those moments. It's like I can think of 10 movies that I saw where somebody gets murdered next to their car.
Right. I know. Under the car, next to the car, run over by the car. The other one is the babysitter one. That one used to scare the bejesus out of me too when I was a kid.
Which one is that?
Where the babysitter is getting all the crank calls, and then she calls the police, and they say they trace the call and it's coming from inside the house.
Okay. There is a basis for that, but there's also an urban legend about somebody living in someone's house with them for like extended periods of time, and the other person not knowing that they're living in there.
Mm-hmm.
And
like
turns out,
or something.
there were cases of squatters living in people's attics for up to 6 months without ever being caught.
Oh Lord!
Yeah.
Did you imagine? Oh man! Let out an attic.
I know. Oh, here we go. What about the one-armed serial killer stalking kids on Lover's Lane? Kids leave and they find a hook hanging on a door.
I do remember that one.
It's not a one-armed serial killer. It's a serial killer with a hook for a hand. You got to explain it that way. I'm thinking he's just...
They don't have another arm. They have a hook.
Yeah. Now that one doesn't have any basis. I did read
about
that.
Was Son of Sam kind of like the Lover's Lane? Didn't he kill? There was one serial killer that killed couples regularly, right? In like a Lover's Lane type thing.
Yes. And I don't know. It was Son of Sam, I think, did kill couples. But there was another one that also did it. But those were both done with guns.
Yeah.
Those were both done.
Yeah, not a hook. Yeah.
So the hook thing, there is no basis for that other than just great movies and different things.
Fear of Peter Pan.
I Know What You Did Last Summer and all those kind of movies always got that hook. And yes, it was Son of Sam.
Ah.
I'm afraid my husband and daughter always go. They always go to the haunted house.
At least they got each other. That's good.
That's true. We used to go to the fair, and I'd go on rides with the kids because Therese didn't like some of the rides.
Yeah.
And then I started to realize one day, I'm like, I'm getting sick to my stomach on these rides. I don't like them either. And we were so glad when our two kids got old enough, just you two go ahead and do it on your own.
They can go together. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be over there having a cigarette and drinking a cup of coffee. All right. Because that's what we do. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. Not all criminals, not all things are horrible out there. There are some dumb freaking people on this planet.
You have dumb criminals?
I've got dumb criminals.
Okay.
I've got Blake Leak, who was caught breaking into a store. The police chased him, but he outran him and hid in a building in the middle of a big field where he was promptly nabbed because he had just broken into one of the buildings at Sing Sing prison. True story.
That's not too bright.
Aaron
Where
Morrison,
is Sing Sing anyway?
What?
Where is that prison?
It's in New York. It's somewhere in New York.
Okay.
Aaron Morrison robbed a liquor store, but was caught. He was caught, and his police, by the time he got home, he robbed a liquor store. By the time he got home, police were waiting at his house for him. Because on the way out the door, he dropped a note to the clerk with his name and number asking her on a date. Hello, McFly.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, Milton Hodges. Milton Hodges robbed a Lowe's in Florida. He robbed the Lowe's and he ran down the street, evading the police. He jumped over a fence and found himself in the middle of a nudist colony, where the police says it was quite easy to spot him.
You think? Oh my gosh.
These are true stories.
Did you notice anything?
What?
They're all male.
I know. I'm looking
for.
I haven't found a dumb woman yet.
Oh, good.
No, they're the ones that send them out to do this shit. Two guys decided to rob an office supply store during back to school weekend because there was going to be so many people in there. They thought it'd be a perfect time. And they knew this office supply store was throwing a special back to school event that day, and they went in there to rob the place. What they never read was the rest of the flyer that said it's Shop with a Cop Day, and there were 60 police officers in there helping the kids buy their supplies.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. That's too funny.
Read the fine print, people.
Well, wouldn't you turn around if you walked up to the doors and you see 5, 6, 7 police officers in there? Like, wouldn't you leave? Wouldn't you change your mind?
I don't know.
Apparently not.
There's another one. I didn't write it down because it was just too unbelievable. A guy was in a coffee store and everybody was standing online, and he cut in front of the 2 people in front of them, walked up to the cashier, threw coffee in the cashier's face, and said, "Give me all your money." The 2 people that he cut in front of were 2 fully uniformed police officers. 2 fully uniformed police officers. Anyway, okay, James Rhyme of Memphis decided to go into the counterfeit business, and he made $100 bills. He was caught the very first time he tried to use them. He had accidentally put Lincoln's face on a $100 bill, which should be Benjamin Franklin's face. Lincoln is on a $5 bill. Stupid. Oh my God. Another guy returned his printer to Target and convinced them to give him his money back for the printer, but did not take all of the papers out of the printer when he returned it, and they realized he was using that printer to make counterfeit bills, and he was arrested. He left the counterfeit bills inside the printer.
Dumbass.
Oh, 2 more. James Washington thought he was having a heart attack and dying. So he called a priest and a police officer, and he wanted to confess to a 17-year-old murder that he had committed. A short time later, he burped, realized it was only gas, and went promptly to jail. True story. He thought he was dying. A man in Fort Worth, Texas, broke into a home at 3 a.m. You can't make this shit up. He broke into the back of a house at 3 a.m. to rob the house. What he found inside was 7 police officers all inside the house investigating a break-in that happened 3 hours earlier.
Oh, jeez.
That's just bad luck. That's just bad luck.
But wait, he broke into the house from where?
He broke into the back of the house.
Okay.
And as soon as he got into the house, he walked right into a scene with police officers. The house, it might have been a big house or something like that.
No police cars, no lights. He didn't see any of that. No reflection.
He snuck in the back of the house.
I know, but
out front.
Yeah, but still.
Well, maybe they just
come on. There's an ambulance 2 blocks away, and you can see the glow of the light.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, living in Florida, that's like 3 times a day. Anyway, so thank God for the dumb criminals that keep us entertained.
Yeah,
and you're right. Yeah. Next show, I'm gonna have to find a dumb woman criminal. They got to be out there.
Yeah, that's a fun way to end. That's pretty funny. Absolutely.
Next, my favorite one of all time was the Australian guy who went in to rob a store. He decided to rob a store. He pulled up in his car, left his car running out in front of this gas station store, ran in to rob the store. While he was robbing the store, a guy on a bicycle pulls up, decides to trade up, leaves the bike there, gets in the car and takes off in the car and steals the crook's car. The crook comes out with a handful of cash and no car and was trying to evade police on a bicycle in the middle of Australia.
Oh, jeez. Crazy.
All right. So we've got a lot to look at. We're definitely going to, we'll keep our little fun segment at the end of funny crimes, just to kind of wrap things up.
Lighten it up, yeah.
But we'll definitely look into what's going on with our old cases, maybe look up some new cases, see if there's anything interesting going on out there. If you have a suggestion or something interesting, just reach out to us. Reach out to us right here on Facebook. You can reach me or Therese, either one of us, and just give us some ideas, and we'll go look them up.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't have lives. We got nothing better to do.
This is true.
Yeah. It might interrupt my dating life. I think I've got one 7 months from now. It's, but it's always fun getting together with you, Therese, and doing this stuff.
Yeah, it is.
And we have not been very consistent, and I apologize for that. And part of that was because I got busy at one point, and then you got injured.
Yes.
How was your injury? I have to ask.
It's good, but the very center is still a little blurry, like it's not fully.
Now we have to
Yeah.
explain. This is a serious injury.
Oh my goodness.
She I don't know if I got this right. You had one of those horrible got your nose accidents.
Yeah, pretty much.
The game got your
nose. No, not got your nose. You know how you do, like, where's my eyes? Where's my nose? Where's my chin? That's what we were doing.
Oh, so you actually set yourself up for a kid to poke you in your face.
Well, yes. Yes, but Tara was home. And
Mom wants to know what happened. All right, so here we go.
Okay, so the kids were over. I was watching them for a little while. Tara was home. They always get extra excited when Tara's here, right? Tata's home, blah, blah, blah. So I was holding Mackenzie, she's 2. And Tara and her were doing the eye, the nose, mouth, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, well, where's my eye? And she got me right in the center of my eyeball, scratched the cornea.
With those little kid fingernails.
Oh my God. I knew it the minute it happened. Tara had to finish cooking their dinner. I had to I was trying to put drops in it. It hurt. It hurt. For 48 hours. It hurt.
You're a nurse. You work at a doctor's office. Did you have the doctor look at it?
Well, now this was Saturday on the holiday weekend, right?
Yeah.
Holiday weekend. So yes, I had him look at it on Tuesday morning.
So it was 3 days of swelling and pain.
Yeah, but I think it was Saturday. Maybe it was Sunday. Okay. But it was the holiday weekend. But I did have some drops at home because I had pink eye a couple weeks ago, which I probably got from the kids. So I did have the antibiotic drops. So I started using them, and then I did look it up a little bit because, the kids are saying, why don't you go to the urgent care? And I'm like, I don't want to go to urgent care on a holiday weekend. It's going to take forever. I know what's wrong. I felt it the minute it happened.
Oh God.
So it said to clean it out with saline, use antibiotic drops. Just that prevents infection. It's not going to heal anything, but it'll heal on its own, basically.
Right.
So that's what I did. And then, yes, he did look at it under his little fluorescent light thing on Tuesday. He had a blast.
All right. So the kid first, a couple weeks ago, gives you pink eye. And then you go over again, and it's like, listen, I have no disease for you, but how about a finger? And they just got you.
Good she Lord. Got me.
Good
she
Lord.
Got me. Okay. And then Tara, you know how sunshiny she is. And she says, well, that's why I close my eye when I ask her. I can't shut up.
You're going to have to go over there. You're going to be wearing face shield and all this.
Yeah, I know, right?
This stuff. And it's little
I should wear those safety glasses next time I have them.
You really should. You really should. I mean, pink eye, scratch cornea. What's next? Just a whole spoon right in the eye socket.
It was just a fluke. She got me just right with those little sharp nails,
Oh, I remember those little kid nails. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so cute. And they grab your lip or they grab your nose, and all of a sudden you got a gouge in it, like you just wrestled a puma.
Yeah.
God. Well, we have come to the end of our show, Therese.
I know. That went quick.
It went quick. Like I said, we're going to be looking into more crimes and different things. We're going to be looking at some fun crimes and whatever else we want to look at, we're going to be doing that. We'll be back in 2 weeks. That's what we're shooting for, assuming that all of our limbs are attached and our eyeballs are all working.
Yeah, be good.
Grace will show up next time with just the kid ripped my tongue out. It's gone. All right. Well, everyone out there, thank you very much. Oh, wait a minute. You need there you go. You need hazardous duty pay.
I know, right?
Yeah. Grandma don't babysit for free anymore. We need to sign. We need to sign some insurance forms and some waivers and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody out there, thanks for joining us. You've been watching Meet Scott and Therese. We always appreciate your comments, the fun you have with us, and always wish you the best. Any final thoughts, Therese?
I really wish people would send us some ideas, some suggestions, because that would, make it easier.
Absolutely. Send us some suggestions. If you want to join us, on a show one time, let me know. We can make that happen too. Just bring something interesting,
Bring a topic.
It's show and tell. Bring a topic. If you don't have a topic, we will.
You're not coming.
That's right. That's right. Great show. Always enjoy. Thank you so much, Donna. We appreciate you. We appreciate all of you. So listen, join in. And remember, every day, do one good thing for someone else and 2 good things for yourself, and you're never going to go wrong. Everyone take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.